Going on, YouTube world, as the spinner spun through spin cycle about 10 times there. IRP episode number 204. Michael, Steve, Dave. Um, I don't know how long we'll go tonight. I'm tired. I know it's a shock. Michael's tired. Steve's tired. Um, Vinny may or may not be on. He's got homework duty. So he's tired too. And it's been a long everything. It just it just seems to get longer and longer. That you want things to slow down. You want things like I'd love a week where like the biggest news is like somebody's retirement in like the local paper. I'd love that'd be like the if that was the biggest thing on the horizon or that occurred, I'd be like that works for me. Just because it's constant something or another, and it's part of life, but it just gets it's draining because you can't. I always equate it to Metroid. Any of those of us have played like old school NES Metroid. When you went and you got along further in the game, and there was like the swampy whatever, like the liquid. You went in the liquid, and that just like would drain your energy like by increments. It just like that's what a lot of this stuff does, and it just you have no time. You don't find that energy pack with some bombs or something like down the road. You're like it slowly regenerates, and so fun topic tonight, and then we'll get into Halloween favorites as we usually do because that's on Thursday. What's up, Tyrone? Paul, Jeff, Joe. Uh, Glad you and whoever else makes it into this menagerie of excitement and rainbows, unicorns, and toilet flower conversation. Enjoy, empathize, sympathize, hypothesize, whatever you want to do with us. So, but first, before we get into all that fun, Michael, what's new? Anything? You said you were going to sell some Clay Matthews cards. How is that going?
That has been going very well. Last week kind of took a hit because I was in the hospital for a couple days. Well, roughly 24 hours for pneumonia. But yeah, just north of 8,000 in sales. So not too shabby.
No. I mean,
And I have room in my case now. It's weird. It's not completely jam-packed anymore.
which, yeah, it's got to feel incredibly odd with the trajectory of your collecting that's been going on for what, the last decade plus.
Yeah. It's very odd. I've mailed out a lot of stuff I never thought I would. But it feels good. I don't miss any of it. I was telling Steve, I said, I thought it would be, it might sting a little bit seeing other people post the cards that I have stories with. Their story is they bought it from me. They had no chase in the matter.
No.
But even seeing the stuff get posted hasn't bothered me one bit. So that means that, yeah, it was time to let it go.
Well, yeah, you made the right decision. And again, it wasn't, as you had expressed, it wasn't just I got bored and then I just want to get new stuff.
Right.
It's like I'm an adult, no kids, but again, married, home, responsibilities, wear and tear of house, wear and tear of the old Visa or MasterCard. It's like you need to be a responsible adult, which you don't see a lot of the influencers show. They don't show everyday stuff. It's not like, hey, I got an fender bender. I got to pay X amount because it was my fault.
Yeah.
It's all I'm getting cards. What's the newest $20,000 card I'm getting? I don't know.
Right.
Just wipe it through your ass. I don't fucking care because you're not a real person. You don't
Yeah.
portray that. So
Because in reality, if I had a $20,000 card and I sold it and had $20,000, my life changes a lot.
yep.
And that's what a lot of this was. This was a quality of life thing where now I get to sit back a hell of a lot more comfortable than I was before.
Yeah.
And that's a good feeling. I have multiple monthly bills that were recurring that are no longer a thing. So it feels good, and I still got a lot of cool shit. I mean, it's not all cards anymore, but I still got a lot of cool cards.
Yeah, it's not like you're fucking done collecting either, man. It's not
No.
like I'm it. That's it. No more Marvel pieces, no more mem, no more nothing. It's like you're moving on. I hate saying this because it sounds like a 12-year-old saying it, but you're like Clay Matthews' era is over.
Yeah.
And that's odd for me to even say because again
that's what majority of people have known me for as long as they've known me.
Yep.
Because I mean, I started on YouTube back in I think it was right around 2010 or so. And by 2012, I was collecting clay.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the people, that's what they know me as, is the guy who Clay Matthews PC. Well, I'm no longer a player collector. That's not a thing anymore, and I won't be. I took that as far as I could possibly take it. I won't do it again with another player.
No, that's what I've said too. That like I think Amaro was my last, like the guy that played in that generation, current generation or iteration of the sport would be the last guy I'd collect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll go back and collect guys that are retired, just because again, I don't have to worry about a prism fucking something numbered 8 to 23 to 52 to all this other. I don't need to worry about any of that. I don't care. That has no bearing on what I enjoy.
Yep.
Card wise, I mean, is that stuff that if you want to be the ultimate completist, if it's Josh Johnson, that'll always be the one that supersedes. I mean, if a Northcutt comes out with something, I should say maybe if McCown's kid, he's at I think UTSA, Texas San Antonio, as a QB. If he were to have some cards, I would pick those up just because of the lineage.
Right.
But it's not like I'm going to sit there and like, let's say all of a sudden he ascends to like a number 1 pick. I'll try to get 1 or 2 of something and I'm done. It's not like where I'm going to be like Josh McCown. Like I'm trying to get stuff. I put 10 cards on like a watch list. I went through his stuff and I went through a lot because I'm like, I haven't done that in months. I'm like, let me just go through and found stuff that I'm like, okay, at some point there's a few on there I would like to hammer out, but it's not stuff that's pressing. I can always find something else to better suit the funds that are being passed along to somewhere else. It's not like, oh man, I need to get the Josh McCown. I need to get that. 2 of them I'd like to, like,
Right.
but I want to get them at the price I really want to get them at. I don't want to sit there and.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being somebody who collects somebody that's currently playing and has been a rookie in the last few years Like, man, if you've got a guy that's in Mosaic, that's a never-ending rainbow. I don't know. I don't know if football is as bad as on the basketball side, but I know on the basketball side, I believe between all the different versions of like Prism or Mosaic, they have roughly 70 parallels, including 3 or 4 one-on-ones. Because you'll have the base, the disco, the shimmer, the nebula. So there's 4 one-on-ones right off the bat. I couldn't imagine having to chase something like that.
No, and then if you got like a first off the line and you got some shit that what is it, the T-Mall or whatever over in Japan, and it's like you have how many conglomerations and configurations of like actual distributed product. It's all the same minus the parallels. It's like, and you're not coming up with anything that's revolutionary.
No.
If you had that mosaic pattern on like an acetate, man, now we're starting to talk a little, but then you take away from the prism aspect of it. So,
yeah, they do they put the prism or the mosaic on acetate for contenders, and that's the one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and if I'm not mistaken, they don't actually put one-on-one on there. It's just a noted print run. And
Which makes sense too.
It looks awesome until it's a sticker autograph. Then it looks like trash.
And that's where, again, we've talked about that for years. I have no faith in fanatics trying to rectify that. It'd be nice because you have a lot more into these sports. Mm-hmm. Like, we're going to make some of these high-end cards on card only. I mean, you have to, I don't care if it takes a little more of your time. If you're signed to exclusive deals or you're signed to the MLB, NFL, PA, any of these, the players associations, you have to interject some of that power and be like, okay, we've done it for the rookie premier photo shoot guys for contenders. Again, I don't know if that's changed the last time I had looked, and again, this was like 2019, 2020-ish. And I'm sure they're just taking out 21 product now, but it was on card for those guys, for the rookie premier dudes. And that's always something that, even if it wasn't somebody that was like a widely collected guy, it was, at least it's on card.
Yep.
At least the fucking thing's on card. We got so much of the stuff now, especially when you have, like you've mentioned too previously, with some of these, like a newer Rogers or a newer Favre, you love the design, but it's impeccable and it's a sticker. It's like, are you kidding me? That the stuff you shouldn't have anything. Yeah. Especially with veteran, especially because, again, you're not going to have Aaron Rodgers auto number to 100 now. That just doesn't. It's not going to exist. Not even the whole full print run of whatever the set is and plus parallels is going to be probably more than 20 to 30, if that's the top end.
You say that, but you know what have you seen what they did in National Treasures?
I did not.
You know the set that Luke built all those years, the NFL Greatest signatures? They redesigned it, and Favre is in it. Even though he was in the original, he's in the new one, same set, numbered out of 99. It is an embarrassment. They totally destroyed the heritage of that set. I saw it and couldn't believe it. And I've seen Rogers autos out of NT numbered out of 99. And they had I think we may have even talked about it a couple podcasts ago, where there's a Rogers Super Bowl XLV Platinum 101 autograph, sticker autograph, and it's a jet sticker with the number 8.
Mm-hmm.
and it's just gross. I would almost rather Rodgers not put the number on the stickers and only sign his jersey number when he's signing the card on card, so he can make sure he gets the 8 with the Jets and the 12 with the Packers, because obviously the QC people are not looking at that. They're just grabbing a sticker sheet. Oh, this page is Aaron Rodgers, and just plopping them on. Yep.
But that's also Panini just drawing out the string with what they're doing. They don't give two fucks about.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing Topps did at the end of their run. I mean, Topps put out those incredible products right there at the end, that Topps Diamond and Definitive. Two super great products, but they didn't have anything game used. It was all off the rack jersey chunks in them. Because why would they spend the money on game used when their license is up?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's still a whole nother year of Panini.
I know.
All the way through the end of 25.
So yeah, they can.
26 will be the first year where Fanatics is everything. So there's still a long way to go, and I mean, if next year's like this year, Fanatics couldn't even get the baseball uniforms right. So
no.
And that's going to have a ripple effect, I guarantee, on the card stuff, because I guarantee that Fanatics had to eat a lot of money with those mistakes. So it'll make its way through all the way through the cards. But I'm thinking maybe over the course of the next year or so, they'll purchase Upper Deck.
Yeah, and if they do, that's
Upper Deck isn't exactly as great a quantity as it was before, because they no longer have the exclusive autographs with LeBron or with Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Those contracts are up. So, I mean, still, I want the Upper Deck designs. I hope that'll be a thing, because we need logos on baseball products bad.
We need a lot of stuff, and I just don't know if we'll ever get it again. At least I won't even say to what we hope.
I don't think we will, because I don't think it's not profitable.
It's not necessary for them to do it to sell and move the product.
Exactly.
So why invest in technology? Why invest in design? And let's have the same cookie cutter stuff. Maybe we'll change a foil.
Yeah, because they're not selling to the consumer and the collector. They're selling to a middleman, being the breakers.
Which that's getting.
Yeah, there is a big disconnect between the company and the end collector. There's no relationship there, because they don't need to change what they're doing in order to move the product. The product moves on its own through the breakers, so they don't need to make any adjustments with the collectors, because for whatever reason, people still buy it all.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I don't understand. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me that.
And it won't.
It just is befuddling.
Yep.
That people. Again, I don't mind if, like we've talked about many times before, you get in a break. Ryan's got something going on. Even if, like, you don't have a hobby shop and you're one of the guys or the gals, I want to see your product broken, like, day of.
Mm-hmm.
and Ryan's got like that Dave or whoever on there on Insta breaking. I get that where you just, for me, I don't want anybody else opening my packs. I spent money. I want to open it because I don't do it enough. And I
Same.
like to go through slowly, pack by pack. Hey, there's a rookie. I want to see where he's drafted. I want to see a parallel. Oh, that's pretty cool. 99. It's not like I'm jumping around like a bunch of dingbats, but it it's it's just odd.
Yeah, if I was gonna spend the money that way, I mean, in order for me to break anything, it's got to be. I just have to have money that I don't know what to do with. That's why I don't. That's why I don't break. But if I did have that kind of income where I didn't care, I'd have to buy two of everything.
Yeah.
I'd let them break one for me and ship me one.
Yep. Yeah, that it doesn't. I don't know. I can't. For me and like the older generation, it's like sort of like the streaming thing with music or DVDs. I know it's simple, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, or whatever, and then whatever platform you're watching a movie on. I still want physical copy. I want the shit that I'm breaking in hand. I want to open the music. I want to plop in the DVD, the video game, because you can buy the cards and just upload the game or whatever. And again, it takes a little time or whatever for everything to roll through, but not that we want to do the standing in line, which we've talked about in here before with like Madden or Call of Duty or like GTA, stuff like that. But to get that thing in hand, you're like excited.
Mm-hmm.
I got this. I finally got the copy. And again, it's not like it's a finite copy of anything, but you're just excited.
Yeah.
Waiting for a game to download, that doesn't excite me.
No.
I don't care about that. I want a memory card. I want the fucking shit. Again, I sound like a grandpa, and my kid says that all the time. You're like, get off my lawn. I'm like, yeah, I fucking hate a lot of shit because it's stupid. And you guys get away from having something, a tangible good that at least you can show I spent my money on something. Here's something, not a download.
I got a new CD in the mail last week. I bought Jelly Roll's new album, and it came, and it was an autographed copy for $9.99. Buy it directly from him for $9.99. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy that.
So for $9.99, that yeah.
Yep.
The one I sent the group when we went to the Luke Bryan or not Luke Bryan. Oh no. Why can't I think of his name?
Zach Bryan?
Zach. There again, that's how the brain is right now. It's like it's porridge. Like at the Zach Bryan, again, the first group or the first dude, the group, you could tell, yeah, they hadn't been up on stage in front of people. And again, okay, it wasn't terrible, but the next dude, I'm just sort of like, Trista, I think, ran to get a pop. And I'm just like, sort of just listening. I'm like, not even paying attention because I don't know the dude. And then I hear the voice. I'm like, man, that's a pretty good voice. And then like start listening to the song. I'm like, holy shit, this dude's. And like, of course, the two songs she missed are like the two songs I like the most. Finding out from this guy, but he's got like autographed record, but there's no CD. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, dude, you're missing like a whole thing here, whole a quadrant of your fan base. Like, I want to fucking get a CD.
Streaming services. We've talked about this. It's cheaper.
I don't care.
They don't care.
Don't press out 25,000 copies of a CD. Press out 1,000. I'll pay more because I can have it.
They don't care.
Steve looks like Travolta in Pulp Fiction when he's looking in the briefcase and it's all illuminated.
Because I think he's got 2 or 3 other CDs out. I'm like, what's the disconnect here? Why are we not? Why all of a sudden go back to records? Went to Target on Sunday. It's fucking records. I mean, what happened to the in between? You either have fucking digital downloads or you have records.
Yep. Those are the two things.
This is absurd. What world is this?
Yeah,
The
only CDs I've bought in the last few years, it's either been directly from the artist or from Amazon. It hasn't been in a store.
Mm-hmm. I bought Naomi the Taylor Swift one, but again, Taylor Swift's going to be there because she's that's a cash cow.
Yeah.
You can print her fucking songs on napkins and people will buy them up. So, but yeah, everything else has been like eBay. Go back and something I know I've got the CD. I know I bought it like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and I know it's probably fucking scratched to shit. So I'm gonna, if I can get a decent copy for $7, $8, I'm like, that works for me.
I know, that's
especially
why
with something I like.
I miss Hastings. Hastings was one of my favorite stores on earth. I spent so many paychecks at Hastings. I would get paid. I would go, and that was before I had a bank account. I would take that paycheck. I would go to Walmart. I would cash it, and then I would go to Hastings, and I would buy myself used CDs and used DVDs.
Yeah.
Now there isn't anything like that.
No. No, I'm always looking for something like that, and DVDs. It's always like the Mystery Science Theater. I can watch fucking hours of it on YouTube. I'm trying to think where else. I don't know if Tubi's got it. They've got their own app, and I've already got the DVD, basically the collection. But I'm still looking for like the riff tracks. I'm looking for that stuff. There's a few of them I don't have, and I'd rather get that and watch them there without ads because I don't want to pay for some upgrade and upcharge for a no ad service. I'm like, no. I mean, put 3 minutes of an ad or put it where it was at in the broadcast of the show.
Yeah.
Don't just jump in the middle of a scene and you're like, well, that was a part of the scene or a part of this particular episode that I loved because it had the good zinger in it. Now I missed it because I get to fucking have a Opezek or something or some goddamn political ad in there. I'm like, well, that's great. Thank you, congressman or district attorney or whoever the fuck is running for whatever. And I really wanted to know about that. Or
a surefire way of not getting my vote is interrupting a show I'm watching.
Yeah, I'm like, I will not vote for you. I'll write in Yosemite Sam in that ballot area. And
I associate your face with anger.
yes. And disappointment. So,
yep.
But yeah, it's the only thing I think about some like a Michael Jackson, like it's like the number ones for cheap. I know there's a Simon and Garfunkel I got for cheap, like the dual disc, like the Essentials or whatever. But yeah, it's like I don't want to have a record and I don't want to do anything Spotify, iTunes because my phone's fucking over 5 years, 6 years old. So it charges about as well as I recharge. So if I'm playing music in my car, the cigarette lighter, because it's an 04 car, that doesn't work. So I can't charge it in there. So I want the technology that I'm used to. I want the technology that has worked for me. That isn't a flawed technology unless you skip your CD across a fucking parking lot. and I know it costs money, but if you got people that are still out there, I know, not to sound like Sam Smith, but I know I'm not the only one that wants to still buy a DVD, that still wants to buy a CD. I know that. So I think the next CD is one of the Linkin Park. I think it's Hybrid Theory. I've seen like the 20th anniversary one, which again was like 3-4 years ago or whatever. But I've seen that on eBay, and I'm like, I need to get that at some point because it's I think a dual disc one. And but yeah, it sucks when the technology you prefer becomes the technology that's antiquated and outdated and
Yep.
again, first world problems, but still.
Yeah, because I own a lot of my favorite movies and stuff on digital platforms, but I still have the physical copies because I bought the special edition one and I like the box that it's in, so I don't want to get rid of it. Because I've got my cool packaging for Fight Club and Tombstone and Gladiator and all that good stuff, and Seven with all the pullouts and whatnot. I love that stuff.
Well, yeah, when you used to have Black Friday was huge for that. I remember the bins of fucking DVDs at Walmart. You'd have stuff that was like $1.99, $3.99, like some TV sets that were like $6.99 to $9.99, and those used to be like $40, $50, $60. And now I look anytime I see that stuff and it's like $8.99. I'm like, holy fuck! I don't like the show, but that just seems like too good of a deal.
Yeah. I remember one Black Friday, and it was at Hastings. I went to the movies, and then after the movies got out, Hastings was next door, so I walked over there, and I loaded up on that 70s show and Nip Tuck. I bought the box sets for like dirt cheap, because at that time you couldn't stream shows. The only way to rewatch them was that way.
Or I'm sure WGN or TBS had them in syndication, but I don't want to watch that Gunsmoke that's coming on at 8:35 p.m. on Thursday night when it's Monday night.
Hell yes.
Dude, this is legit. Special features and everything.
Yeah, when you get the commentary and you got the fucking outtakes and
blooper reels. I love that stuff.
I mean,
I'm not opposed to streaming, but I definitely like physical media.
Yeah.
Yep.
And for me, I think, and again, personal opinion, call me Grandpa Simpson yelling at the clouds. That technology, I mean, when we got to like, okay, now we go from cartridges for games in VHS, now it's DVD, CD, disc for like Xbox, PlayStations. I'm like, okay, that's good. That now we can sit in this zone for a while. It just seems like the technology, like the last 20 years, has come so far so quick that it just you feel like 70s to maybe like the early 90s was like the avalanche starting, and you're like, oh shit, that's coming down this way. And then we're not even at the bottom, but I mean it's just like coming through at like breakneck speed and fucking what's next? I mean the AI stuff is the fun stuff on the horizon, and now it's here, and now it's just like a disaster with that. And I'd say give me some sweet tea, but I know that's a lie because I don't like tea. Give me a Baja Blast and give me a porch and give me a rocking chair and give me some Paul Harvey. I can be good with that.
Oh, Paul Harvey. And
I'll
that's the rest of the story.
I'll listen to that for.
I remember my mom driving me to school, both at the end in elementary and middle school, both. We would listen to Paul Harvey on the way to school as she dropped me off.
Because that I tell Naomi that too the other day. I said, you guys do not have a fucking clue how good you've got it with, like, if you ever say you're bored, that is
That's
bullshit.
self-inflicted.
Yeah. I'm like, if it was a rainy day, summertime, springtime, fall, it's like, okay, you're not going outside and playing because you don't want to get all fucking gucked up. And I mean, if it was like a hard rain, especially lighter rain, intermittent throughout the day, you sort of fought through it and tried to get out and do something. But if it was just a shit day, storming, and it's like, you'd have like your snack and you'd play with Legos, you'd play with G.I. Joe, you'd play with He-Man, Ninja Turtles, whatever. You'd play something with, again, physical something, and then the radio would be on because you wouldn't be sitting in front of the TV because guess what? There was no Cartoon Network because cartoons ended at a certain time in the morning and then it went to like the PBS boring nonsense like the Reading Rainbow and all that stuff. And they didn't start till after schoolish, the 2 p.m. like Central Time because it'd be 3 p.m. Eastern. And I'm like, so the radio would be on. You'd listen to the radio, and if that would be something that'd be on like in the middle of the afternoon, I don't remember how many times I'd actually want to like try to get home to listen as a kid to Paul Harvey. If like everybody was still at home and like doing something, like I want to listen to Paul Harvey. And again, that probably started or was that avalanche of just utter nonsense and adding to my interesting character. So Robert, Vinny,
Hi.
how you gents doing?
Just freaking delightful. After helping his daughter with her homework, Vincenzo was able to go on the podcast. They make this stuff so hard for these kids. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I'm definitely not a fan of the math homework. She showed me it the other day. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
She's got math down cold, and I'm pretty good. I wasn't good in high school because my teachers sucked. And they said I'd never be able to do anything in math. Well, in college, I took advanced statistics. I took advanced calculus, and I didn't do well in English.
Didn't do well in English.
Yeah. But I saw my high school math teacher later on, and he's like, he looked at me, he's, do I know you? I'm like, yep. I said, I'm the guy you said that could never get a science or math degree. I got a minor in math and a degree in biology, life science biology. Yeah, that's me. I'm the asshole.
You put your degree in his corncob pipe and said, "Smoke it."
Yes. I that. But like these computers, she's trying to move the mouse, and you got to move the words around, and they're getting stuck, and she's getting frustrated, and I'm like, settle down now. It'll be all right. We'll figure this out. But it's just it. Then she selects stuff from cart. You can like before you start this, they ask you what cartoons you watch. So she puts Naruto. Thanks, Ed. Uh, all these freaking cartoons that I've never seen. Then in the middle, like towards the end, it comes up Emperor Zarkon's gerbils. I'm like, well, I'll be damned. Emperor Zarkon of Voltron fame had gerbils? I didn't know that. I know Pidge had them mice. I don't know anymore. And I don't know if the better half's laughing at my crazy ass or just in life in general. Hi, Paul. Hi, Jeff. Ty. Joe. Okay. Bob, take the stage because I'm worn out. I'm gonna do this with cards.
I'm also delightful.
Didn't hear from the tone in your voice. I am also delightful.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I had the most exciting thing that happened to me today was I had to fix my parents' refrigerator freezer. So, but I was able to do it. I just had to clear the room first. I was like, I'll fix it. Just everybody leave.
Let's say you could have used me there. I could have cleared the room, but not in the sense you would have wanted.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. The ice maker wasn't working for like a year, and I don't know. There was no water line. I don't even know what I did. I just took the ice maker out because it was leaking, but there was no water line connected to it. And it didn't pull out of the back of the refrigerator because we pulled the fridge out. I don't know, but it's not leaking anymore, and now there's more room in the freezer. So
win-win.
That's what we call a win-win, fellas.
Three, 2, 1, win. Quote Pittsburgh Dad.
I watched 3 movies when I got home from work today, so I didn't go to sleep until almost 2, and then that's how I was woken up. Can you come? You need to come up here and fix this freezer. You know, which I'm happy to be able to be of service.
Yes.
What movies did you watch?
I watched Last Man Standing with Bruce Willis and Christopher Walken, Bruce Dern.
Of course, I asked, and then you went completely frozen, so I didn't hear anything you said.
I watched Last Man Standing with Bruce Willis, Christopher Walken, and Bruce Dern. Good flick. I watched Smoking Aces, one I hadn't seen. You know, I've seen both of them, just hadn't seen them in a while.
I haven't watched Smoking Aces in a long time.
Yeah, I totally forgot the plot and forgot how many characters were in that. It kind of had like a Snatch feel to it, where there's like a lot going on that all kind of culminates in one hotel. And then I watched an old school movie called The Wraith with Charlie Sheen, like a car movie.
Oh yeah, I know that movie.
That one I had never seen.
Yep.
Classic 80s movie for sure. It's like 100%. all the 80s tropes of like there's like a gang of like car pirates or whatever, you know, just and like every genre of teenagers like represented in this gang, like the nerd, the jock, the like punk, you know, it's just like trope after trope, which is pretty awesome.
Very formulaic.
And boobies. There's always boobies in 80s movies.
Yep.
I hid my eyes though, because you know.
Because you're respectful.
That's right.
What was that movie called, Bob?
The Wraith. WRAIT8.
Yep.
Great.
Charlie Sheen, Sherilyn Fenn, Nick Cassavetes.
Yep.
It was pretty good. Clint Howard with like
Randy
I don't
Quaid.
know. Yeah, Randy Quaid plays the cop. It's a watch. It's like it's watchable. It's kind of like there's so many plot holes in it, but still, it's like you get it by the end.
Yeah. It's what I call junk food movie.
Yeah, right.
I'll watch it and I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm not taking it serious.
Exactly.
It's
I know
just
what I
watch.
signed up for when I clicked on it. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually started watching a movie today too, and then had to pick up Naomi from school, so I shut it off then and watched some mindless stuff on YouTube then. But it's on Peacock, and I feel my time for watching it could be ending. Just I don't know what they do with like the seasonal stuff, but being like a old horror movie that isn't exactly a treasured piece of cinema. It's a Trauma Team, so the same guys that did
Oh
the Toxic Avenger.
yeah, Toxic Avenger. Yep.
They I think it's called The Children. And I briefly went through. I'm like, okay, I see what it says. I'm gonna watch like on like again, if somebody's out there that doesn't know, like a Netflix, you can see like a tidbit of the action of what goes on in the show or whatever. So this one had one of the characters and then one of the kids with the affliction they've been given through the plot of the movie. I was like, it's Trauma Team. I didn't know that until I turned it on, but I'm like, that right there in itself makes it watchable for me because they've got a lot of just junk. I mean, you want to talk about, and I think that go back to the DVD thing. They've got like 2-3 packs or whatever, like 2-3 movies on a DVD that are just abysmal. I mean, there's I don't know, it's something like the Curse of the Confederate Cannibal Corpses or something to that effect.
Oh yeah.
And it's just it's not good, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's
Over the
horrible.
top.
Yes, and so this
So
one,
bad it's good.
yes,
So bad
This
it's
one-
good. Exactly.
this one had I watched I think about a half hour, 40 minutes, and at typical as the resident YouTube Hall of Famer said, 80s movie, boobies. It just odd pairings going on with some of these like non-main characters. But you see where it's going. It's just like, ooh, this is gonna be good. And I was not disappointed with that first 40 minutes. So I'm gonna have to go back to that and watch that either probably tomorrow after I get done with work in the morning, watch that and then take my nap before.
Tubi has a bunch of like those schlocky horror films. I watched Chopping Mall recently.
That was
What?
on the old. That I think I watched that on there because I'm like, I saw the little like circuit type robot. I'm like, well, let me check this out. We're talking horror and robots. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy into this and so I ended up watching that. I'm like, ooh, that's a treat and a half.
Yeah, just absurd.
Does anybody know if Trick or Treat streaming on anything right now?
I'm sure it is. I don't have any of the paid ones, so I just have to watch like the free stuff. But
I need.
is
to
that
look.
the one? So which you're talking like the Trick, like
The heavy metal
like,
one?
the heavy metal one?
Trick or Treat. It's about a heavy metal guitar god Demon guy.
Oh. No, I haven't. I don't even know. So I was thinking you were referring to the other one, the newer one with like Anna Paquin and stuff, like Trick or Treat.
No. This movie's from 1986.
Oh, that might be on there then. Yeah.
Let me.
Here is the synopsis of it. It says a bullied teenage boy is devastated after the death of his heavy metal idol, Sammy Kerr. But as Halloween night approaches, he discovers that he may be the only one who can stop Sammy from making a satanic comeback from beyond the grave. It's beautiful.
With special appearances by Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people in it.
Produced by De Laurentiis Group. They didn't make anything strange. What do you do? We make cowboy movies and movies about giant sandworms. And we produce Giada. Thank you.
Let me see.
Not on Peacock.
Yeah, it's showing Screambox, which is Prime Video channel, and then you can rent or buy it on Amazon. So it doesn't sound like anybody's showing it. I know at one time it was not an easy DVD to find.
Oh, what's that movie called?
But Sicto's a big fan of it. It's one of his favorites.
You guys have like every spooky season. I watch whatever, like your go-tos or anything like that.
Nope, I hate those movies.
I don't. Me and the wife will just watch scary movies at any point during the year, but there isn't.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a specific one now. She'll watch Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
During this time of year, and I won't because it's terrible. But
yeah, it's terrible. Monster Squad was on my watch list for a while. I just don't have the DVD currently, so
we like watching the Conjuring movies.
Yeah, I think they're probably due for a new one at some point.
It feels like there's going to be another one.
Yeah.
No.
Snow Beast. That's one that I always go back to. Night of the Living Dead, the original black and white.
Yeah.
Shot in the great city of Pittsburgh or near there.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Now it could be live action in Seattle and San Francisco.
Oh. I'm shocked nobody's put up like either a trail cam or some sort of cam there to just document stuff.
That's because they'll steal it.
Well, true.
Puppy.
Put it at some juncture where they make it a little more difficult.
Yeah, hide it in like a job application box or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That it just with our theater in town, we get again some new movies. It's sort of changed where during COVID it was a lot better in the sense that you were getting like older movies, like either from our childhood or previous, that were playing there. And I'm like, I don't remember going to this in the theater, and not that it's a huge difference, but I'm like, I want to sit there and watch it in the theater because just the experience again. Their tickets went up from a whopping $5 to a whopping $7, which is still pretty decent. But if I'm going to do that, I want to watch something I know I either will enjoy or I really want to watch. And I'm not like a movie buff. Like I know Michael likes a lot of the newer Marvel type stuff. Again, that's not the right one.
It's a lot to live up to be a buff of anything, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like there's stuff that a lot of folks want to see. I don't want to see Wolverine versus Deadpool. I don't have any interest in that stuff. I want to go watch Night of the Living Dead, black and white, on a movie theater screen now. Plan 9 from Outer Space. Give me a couple Bela Lugosi films. Just stuff that I know I've seen 1,000 times, but I know I like it. And I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not going to be shocked. Oh no, there's a 3-hour movie that has nothing in it I like, and I'm spending it at like a different theater, like 14, 12.
My sweet spot's the 90s to 2010s.
Okay. Like if they had Dazed and Confused, if they had that at the theater, I would go there. I'd probably go a couple times because that's just such a great movie.
Absolutely.
So many great characters and one-liners, and or the Stoned Age, which again is a classic. That was I think a USA Up All Night one, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time because it's got Frankie Avalon here right at the end. But again, quotables that I enjoy.
I'd go watch Detroit Rock City in the theater right now.
I could go watch that live, but it would not end well, probably.
But yeah, as for like horror stuff, I just watch. I don't know. Usually, whatever's on Mystery Science Theater. That's the extent of like the horror watching, or like I'd mentioned that Suburban Sasquatch. That's I think on Tubi.
Boggy Creek 2. You ever seen that one?
Yeah, The Legend Returns.
Legend Returns, right?
I didn't know there was a legend after one.
Well, I was gonna say I don't even remember Boggy Creek #1, so
nobody else does either.
So that when you're looking around for something like, hey, Boggy Creek 1, scrubbed from the annals of time.
Yeah, skip right to the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Evil Dead 2. You don't need to see the first one. Just go right to the second one.
I don't know. That's one of the ones I watched when I was younger in high school. I remember
Evil Dead.
it.
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the second one because it pretty much tells the whole story in the first like 10 minutes of the first movie, and then
this is true.
It's a little more campier. It's a little more polished.
Did you guys watch Axe vs. Evil Dead, the TV show?
I'd seen a couple of the first episodes, and I heard it lived up to people's expectations.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I was really sad when he retired from playing the character because they could have kept going. It was that good.
Such a good physical, like, comedian actor.
Oh, yeah. Yep. He is represented right there on the wall.
Nice.
Yep.
I heard Steve only likes like Halloween movies on the Hallmark Channel, so he doesn't like to get scared.
That's about my pace too, so I'm right with you, Steve. Unlike my daughter who watches, I seen this clown that looks like he's in this clown getup with a white face and Terrifier. She's like, it's Terrifier. I'm like, excuse me, have you watched this? She goes, no. I'm like,
don't let her watch it either. Don't let her watch it either.
They're unrated for a reason. Yeah, the new one, it just Terrifier 3 hit over $50 million at the box office. It's the most ever for an unrated film.
She was they had soccer practice tonight, but it's a fun practice because tonight's soccer practice. Tomorrow they're going to go see a live soccer match, girls soccer match at a college, and then Thursday is Halloween, of course. So they have that night off because that's usually their night. So they all dressed up tonight. And all the parents are looking, they're like, why is everybody wearing like snuggies? So there was like giraffes and whales and like jumpsuits type deal. One girl had Haley, she had a rooster, one of those blow up suits. So she's out there playing soccer as a rooster. That was funny. Tigger was one of them. Trying to think of what I saw, but nothing like really stood out. Then there's my kid, Freddy Krueger, as a woman, complete with her glove. I said, well, you should be able to stop the ball well or maim someone in goal tonight. So,
little extra reach on the glove,
Yeah.
Pop that ball before it gets in.
Right.
No one will want to get a body check in on her. No one will attack the goalie. But she had the hat. I got pictures. Meredith took pictures, so I'll have to send them about. Make the rounds.
Yeah, basket case. Not Green Day.
Oh,
And then
Yeah.
Troll. And then Troll 2, because that's one of the worst movies ever. Those are go-tos throughout the year that if I'm like, you know what, I just need to laugh. I really need to laugh, and I'm just gonna and I don't want to watch my Instagram stuff that I try to share with the crew, and then nobody responds to it, and
I watch it.
I just watched in stunned silence. Like, is this stuff he wastes time with? You're like,
You sent
yeah,
me that suburban Sasquatch thingy, the clip.
that's so great.
I was like, this is so horrid when he rips the dude's heart out. And
No,
I'm
that
like, is this
what is
shit
it?
for real? I'm like,
He had the arm. He had the one arm, and he's like,
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's like a lawnmower dying.
Yeah,
Sucks.
it was interesting. I went back on YouTube and tried to watch clips of it, and I was like, oh, I've had enough of this, but I see what Dave's appeal is, and it's pretty awfully bad. So you
Again,
kind of, it's like a train wreck. You got to watch it.
If you're on Tubi, it's I think on Tubi. That's where the former coworker is like, he's like, I know you like stupid shit. I'm like, well, thank you. That's a compliment.
Good enough assumption there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, right out of the gate, we're winning. And he's like, you've got to watch Suburban Sasquatch. And there was like another one that was like some sort of like mushroom fungicide, I think, is on there too. And those are two just like the same director, and they are just somebody had some sort of editing software and had some friends and like some cameras, because it's brutal. It's just fucking abysmal, but it's so funny to think that anybody thought this was like something that people would want to watch. Well, little did they know that I'm alive. But that Suburban Sasquatch is just so bad. The editing is terrible. The noises, the 8-man Sasquatch looks like he's got pepperoni for nipples. I mean, it's just this a terrible storyline and story. It's just everything is bad, which makes it for me really good. So
he seems very angry in the movie. The Sasquatch.
Yeah, and then to find out sort of what it's about, it's like, huh. you see a lot of woods in the area, and it's like this one little area where they're supposed to be building a mall that you never see any construction of a mall. It's like they're taking over its habitat. I'm like, well, it's not like that's it. There's no other woods. It's just this little area. So, but the what the fork, those like digital like cartoonish things. Ugh. I told Naomi, I said I didn't listen to those things with the sound on until maybe like a month ago. When I started listening, I started laughing a lot harder. And she was just like, "Oh, you would."
Yes,
I
I would.
Because again,
Go with my friends.
well, no, nobody else is. Bob would be the only one that I think would get some giggles out of it. But it's just like she's like, "That's worse than brain rot." I said, "It's not. You're
No.
skibbity in Ohio and no cap and whatever dumb shit.
Skibbity?
Yeah, I'm like, all your terms are just absolute. You guys are morons. We at least had words that sort of meant something. You're gonna look back in 20 years and people will say Ohio and they'll be like, yeah, Ohio.
Yeah, it's a state.
Yeah. Congrats.
Yeah.
49 to go. You got one.
It's a pain in my ass because if it wasn't for Ohio, Michigan and Pennsylvania would touch, and I could visit my family and Bob very more frequently than now, because now it's a 6-hour freaking drive through Ohio. That's my word for Ohio. Ohio.
Kind of flat and straight.
And if you're from Michigan and you are a fan of either Michigan or Michigan State, they hate each other, but they both enjoy hatred of Ohio State. So it's like a religion here. I've never, like, growing up, I was like, I'm a Pitt guy. And I was a Penn State guy because I had relatives that went to Penn State and West Virginia. If we weren't playing them, I was rooting for them because West Virginia was like 25 minutes from me and Penn State was like 3 hours roughly. And I like that football and I like the sports from those teams, and like it never occurred to me to have utter and undying hatred for them. But like other people come back, friggin' Pitt sucks. I'm like, what do we do to you? We play you once a year, every like 4 years, West Virginia. And how can I be mad? They sing Country Road. You know how wonderful that is to hear? It's like I'm close enough to West Virginia to love that song. When they start playing it, I'm like getting a teary eye. It describes like except it's not the Blue Ridge, it's the Appalachians. So we can relate. So I do enjoy that tune. I'd play it now.
I mean, I like the Mountaineers. Like that's all. They don't have a pro team, obviously, so it's like all in on the Mountaineers. Like Oklahoma or something.
No one can burn a couch like the people of WVU.
This is true.
Allegedly. Well, actually, we saw that.
Yeah, there's evidence of that.
Who they beat that time back probably 20 years ago, and everything was a burden. There were every couch that was on a frat or sorority doorstep was in the streets ablaze. It was.
But all a Pitt fan ever has to say to a Mountaineer fan is 13-9, and then they get quiet real quick.
Yeah. I was there the time they beat, I think it was Notre Dame, maybe 97, 98.
Wow.
97, 98, and
It leaves us in suspense.
No, West Virginia. I remember when they were, what was it, 93? 92, 93 in the Sugar Bowl? I remember they were good for a moment there. And I mean, they were still good, but.
Yeah, I think didn't they get crushed by Syracuse or something in the Sugar Bowl? I can't remember. But 97, 98, Vinny, what happened this game?
I think that was it Johnny Major's last season? It was right before the guy between them and Narduzzi, because I used to work for the transportation company at Pitt, and we did a lot of stuff with the football team. And I can't think of his name. I could hear him talk because he used to call our office all the time. But we came back and we beat Notre Dame. I think it was like 38-36 or something like that. I took my brother and all his football team, his high school football team, my middle brother.
Was that Walt Harris?
Pardon? Yeah,
Walt Harris.
Yeah, Walt Harris. Vinny, this is Walt Harris. How you doing? I have a problem. And I'm like, well, tell me about your problem, Walt. What's going on? Somebody called one of my coaches a bitch. I'm like, well, I assure you it was none of my people. I was like, okay, so we shall investigate. It was some kid screaming, and he thought it was one of our bus drivers. And we were like, dude, that is the most straight-laced bus driver we got. That's the one we gave you. We always give you like the creme de la creme of the drivers that are like 5-star guys. And I took Cesar Meredith down there, and the buses were running, and the bus driver comes off. I'm like, dear God, I at the time I remembered his name. Jacobs is his last name. And he looked at me and he's like, Vinny? And I'm like, yep. He's like, I haven't seen you in 10 years. Yeah. And he's still driving that bus. He was ancient when he worked for us back then. He had to be in his late 60s. But I digress. Right back at you, Dave. Thank you. I'm drinking this, which I haven't drank for a while. So, Baja.
Halloween might be 2 days away, but that doesn't mean it's too early for Christmas tree cakes.
No. Never.
I was looking for cardboard undergrounds, whatever thing he sent that day. He was hunting for something, Little Debbie's. I couldn't order.
Oh yeah, I didn't have them at my store either. They were like cherry cordial, like cake things. Yeah,
they weren't at Kroger. They weren't at Meijer. They weren't at Walmart. And I saw somewhere else, Target. I checked all 4 places. We were like at 4 or 5 places that had groceries. We even went to like when we got chicken, we get them to run it through the machine, and it like kind of tenderizes the chicken, so you don't got to beat it with a mallet for chicken cutlets. And even there, they usually have specialty stuff. Nothing. And I check Randazzo too. Only person knows what I'm talking about is Jeff. So I went to all the major ones. Shots Market, that's what it's called. Shots and Randazzo, they didn't have them either. So,
March shot?
No, I think it's spelled similarly, but Billy, my guy Billy the Butcher. I think that's actually a character's name from Homelander.
Casablanca?
one of the two.
Yeah, the life story of John Cougar Mellencamp.
Fantasy Island.
That too.
I'll return.
Right in the middle of a story, I'll return.
Gangs in New
The
York.
sad thing is, I don't even remember what I was talking about because I have the attention span of a gnat now.
Bill the Butcher.
Now.
Oh,
He was Bill the Butcher in that, and then you got Billy Butcher in The Boys.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis as Bill the Butcher is one of the greatest movie characters of all time.
Yeah, isn't he like what's that show with Homelander? The Boys?
The Boys.
Oh, Home Improvement.
Isn't he Bill the Butcher in there? Or?
Billy Butcher.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's my butcher's name is Billy.
You sure it's not Billy Blanks?
No, that's Billy Bo's Tybo. I'm traversing through the basement to get to the dog because I was told. Let's remind you the creaky steps. Galaxy.
What's up with Steve? Laryngitis?
Do what?
You have laryngitis?
No.
He was great in Last of Mohicans. He was also amazing as Daniel Plainview in There Will Be Blood.
He's pretty much good in everything.
Yeah.
I mean, the boxer, even like My Left Foot, which isn't like my type of movie, but
yeah,
like the guy is.
He's one of the
all
greatest
in.
ever.
Yeah, probably is.
He's Voldemort too, isn't he? Yeah.
What?
No,
Voldemort from Harry Potter. Or am I thinking?
No.
No, that's Ray Fiennes.
Ralph.
Never.
Yeah,
Fiennes.
Ray.
Yeah, Ralph.
Ray, Ralph.
Which he was great in the Grand Budapest. That's a good movie. The Grand Budapest Hotel. And what?
The Great Gatsby.
It's funny. I only watched the DiCaprio one time. I remember it being good.
It's a mattress. Ed.
No, when y'all start talking off the wall horror movies that I've never heard of, like I have nothing to add.
You gotta have something you've watched. No, I mean, again, it doesn't have to be off the wall.
I noticed you were silent during the math portion of the show too.
He'll never let that down.
Had nothing to do with it. I was in the process of trying to figure something out. So, like half of
how you can sell your Terrell Davis collection and reinvest in Tim Tebow? Was that the
no?
That's the move.
Or Anthony Richardson. There's similarities and
yeah, how shitty they are.
No, just they've got the big play in them.
No.
How's the Bo Nix market?
I wouldn't know.
He plays for the Broncos, right? He's a Bronco.
Yeah.
Last I checked, but I couldn't tell you what the market is.
Yeah. That'd be
He's
weird if
leading
you
all-
could.
I think I saw a stat though. The last 3 games, he's leading all rookies in all categories.
Yeah, he's doing well, or at least.
Of course, they played Carolina this past weekend, so that's not saying much.
No.
So it's safe to assume his market is extremely propped up with the hype machine being at the foundation of it all right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
See, I didn't even do any research.
I don't even see his cards being offered in groups. So I don't know that he had. Maybe he's one of those guys like Stroud and whatnot who don't sign for Panini.
Or you can just get more on eBay for it and just like let a bidding war start and
Yeah, I don't go and search for Bo Nick stuff. So
I can barely spell Bo Nix.
Is he Stevie Nicks' son?
Absolutely.
That seems like it'd be feasible. Same last name.
Same height.
Yeah.
Probably grandson. Probably grandson, actually.
Yep. Yeah, maybe, probably. Somewhere in that performing lineage family tree.
We're probably Stevie Nicks'
I
son.
was about to say the same thing. As promiscuous as that woman was, we're probably related somehow.
6 degrees of separation of Fleetwood Mac and cheese.
You could probably get there in 3.
wow.
Allegedly.
Is it though?
You just kind of throw that in there just in case there's her lawyers might be a fan of the show or something.
If they are, wow, they got a lot of time on their hands.
You know, when there's 10 or 11 people watching, but there's only 9 or 10 people commenting, that one person could be, one of 2 people.
Somebody looking for future content.
All the people who steal our shit.
I think we should make a website.
If you've got the time.
We've got the opinions.
Yeah.
I have no time.
If you had no time, you wouldn't be sitting here.
True, but I make time for this. Somehow, some way. How's Bill doing, Bob?
Well, living his best life. I got to hear a lot about his sister, his older lesbian sister Nancy that lives with him. Oh, dyke lesbian. Those are his words. She had an eye procedure recently. He had to call off work because he had to be at the facility for 7 to 10 hours. So he said he was bringing a bunch of blankets, going to lay down the back seats and then make it flat in the back and go to sleep in the parking lot. So he could come into work, but he didn't. Yeah, eye surgery for Nancy. He doesn't trust doctors, so he tried to talk her out of it.
For 7 to 10 hours?
Yeah, I guess from what he said, the first 3 hours or whatever they had to, it ended up being probably between 6 and 7 hours, but I guess they have to game plan as they're doing it or something. Like the first half of it or something he says was like a reconnaissance mission on how best to handle it, and then the actual procedure. But Bill tends to embellish, so he could have been there and back in half an hour. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to even possibly fathom.
Something about she described it to him about like black veiny like things coming into her line of sight. So it was some kind of a retinal cornea, like on the verge of a detached retina, blah blah blah. I wasn't really listening.
Sometimes you can't. You can't invest that type of time. You're just like,
Yeah, it's just
You're-
kind of like yeah. The guys I work with are so petty. Like there's like a lot of like infighting, but not. You know, like you got the old guy that always like if he sees you standing for a second, he's like, "Hey, get back to work," you know, or like, "Are you done with your stuff yet?" You know, just yanking chains, as he says, and like this is what he does every night. And then finally, like one of the guys, one night he's had enough of it, yank somebody else's chain, and then the other guy gets offended 2 nights ago. He's like, "Why do you always say this to me?" You know, like they're so easily offended. Or I'm like, this is like what Pete does. Like you should just expect it and just roll with it. I mean, that's sort of like because now you're all hot and bothered over some 73-year-old's like moment of like good-natured ribbing. I just like who's got time to be upset about that? I don't know.
well, we have the old saying up this way, and I try to do this because I don't particularly have time for anybody else's gibberish and jive in the store, and you start hearing like somebody else say to you, like, well, what about this person doing this? I said, you know what? Watch your own bobber. Just you worry about you. Again, you're not going to get a portion of their pay if you do their job, so don't do it. They're not going to get a portion of yours. You just do what you've got in your list. Worry about you. We're always worrying about somebody else at the workplace. But I will get upset if people are just standing around all day, and I'm like, how do I have all this to do and nobody else is doing anything? And I've seen like people taking 3, 4 breaks, and they're outside to smoke every like 20 minutes. I'm like, man, if I go outside and like just sit down and enjoy the weather, it's like, what are you doing out here? I'm like, oh, so I don't smoke, so I can't be out here. Is that what we got going on? Or like, it doesn't work that way. If I want to fucking take a 10-minute break outside and enjoy the sun and enjoy the breeze and just fucking enjoy some fresh air where I'm not looking at fluorescent lights all day, I'll do that. So
It's called a break. You're supposed
Yeah.
to be able to do with it whatever you choose.
You usually get 2 15-minute breaks in an 8-hour shift.
And yeah, I'm usually taking maybe like a 5-minute break. So I'm like, I'll take a 5 or 3 hours in, and then maybe like an hour later I'll take another 5, and then I'll hit it hard, and then maybe 11:30 I'm like, I take a 10-minute one outside. I'm like, I'm still well within all the time I'm granted. I'm not sitting outside for a half hour. I'm not on my phone in the fucking building like several of my coworkers are, and if I am, it's because I'm either emailing our bulk coffee distributor where we get our store pizzas from that are processed and made down in Owatonna. So, and then Sandstrom's is another distributor that we get stuff from. So I'm on there on the app and I'm ordering. So I'm not, again, if I'm on my break, I'm going to play the golf game. I'm going to check eBay. I'm going to check Instagram if there's stupid stuff that I've got to send you guys because all I see is dumb stuff coming my way. I got to send you guys the equivalent to retroactively make everything good. I'm like, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to sit there and talk on my phone again, unless it's a representative or a vendor. I'm like, these people are texting their girlfriends or their fiancés. when I text, it's then, and I'm done with it for the time being. But yeah, it's when you have so many people with the petty shit all the time. It's like, just worry about yourself.
No, Dave. But that's the
Get what you
problem.
need to get done, and then do that. And then if you want to quib at somebody, fine, do it. But just
Everybody else is the one doing things they're not supposed to. So they have to make it known, even though they're probably the most guilty of all.
yeah, well, yeah. Usually, the person throwing the stones in the glass house is the one that
Exactly.
is the key offender. We had a guy call in yesterday. I call him Baby Huey because he's an idiot. And coming from the other store, he was the Zups guy. He was when we bought the other store a few years ago. He's one of their employees. One of the women that had worked at the other store for like 30 plus years asked him, "Where were you yesterday? Why'd you call in?" And this is the first time I've heard this. So again, I've been around for a couple of years. I've heard a lot of dumb shit. I've worked at the store for a couple of years. There's no filter to catch the shit that comes through the store. It's clumps and chunks. So he said to her, "Well, I overworked myself this weekend. So I needed to take yesterday off."
I do
And
that
we
almost
lost
every
two
weekend.
viewers with that because I'm sure they fucking broke their computer and when they heard that. But it's like doing
Wow.
what? You barely do anything at the store. You at the store, and this is a guy that, again, there's some sort of like some sort of learning cognitive thing there that isn't all. But again, it's not. I think he portrays it more or uses it more than it actually is there. If any of that makes any sense. But he set up behind like our eggs in the dairy cooler in summertime. He'd have 2 milk crates against the wall so he could sit there and not be seen. It's like so
Nice.
you got a little bit of smarts to you. I mean, I know you're stupid, but you're not as stupid as people think. Stupid as a fox? Yes. So
I overworked myself over the weekends.
I like I said, I've heard a lot of excuses, a lot. I didn't have that in my bingo card of excuses.
That's right. I used to have an employee that I swear had like 10 ants or something.
Come from a big family.
No, that's the problem. It's like I'm pretty sure like a few months ago that same ant died. They they came back like
They were almost dead.
Yeah.
and I swear sometimes I think people just don't bother to comprehend that there are people that have really good memories
Mm-hmm.
and in a lot like I keep my mouth shut when it comes to shit like that because I don't have a filter, but I refuse to put myself in a situation where I'm going to get in deep shit by opening my mouth. But I'll say it like, really, that's interesting. Oh, I'm pretty sure that ant died like last year already. Died again.
I'm sorry for your loss. Again.
It's all, yeah. And it's always aunts and uncles. It's not,
Yep.
you know,
Immediate.
grandparents, parents, siblings, that type of stuff. It's always extended family,
The
which
outer
like
reaches.
my company doesn't give. Like when it comes to something like that, basically you get 1 day, and it's like for the funeral.
hmm
Immediate family, you get a week.
hmm
Do you have to
Extended
provide a
family,
death certificate?
no, no, no.
Because that'll get you a cheaper airline flight. I don't know if you knew that.
Well, that I understand, but from a workplace perspective, like that's not going to happen.
And a Polaroid of you next to the casket, that won't suffice. Trust me. I've seen it.
I mean, not that I felt like I needed to, but anytime, one of my immediate family passed away when I was working here where I am now, like those people who needed to know what was going on, I provided like the link to the obituary.
Yeah.
Just not that I needed to, but it's one of those in which it's like, okay, this is proof that I'm not like making shit up.
Yep.
Because a lot of obituaries, if it's immediate family, like you see names
Yep.
of people who they're survived by when it's
Yep.
immediate family. So it's like, not that I needed to, but just in case it was a CYA thing.
Yeah, I think that's just. I am somebody that has integrity. I'm not the guy that says my aunt died every year.
Yep. Because a lot of people, it's amazing how many relatives people have conveniently in situations like that. And I get it. Yes, a lot of people have big families. I'm not saying that they don't. But when they choose to use names, when they let you know that, oh, my Aunt Susie passed or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's like, how many Aunt Susies do you have? Because this is like the third in the last year and a half.
I mean, Texas is a big state. There's got to
None
be
of
a
my
lot of Susan.
none of the people who work for me work in Texas or have worked in Texas. So like
Oh,
they're
then
everywhere
it is
else.
bullshit. Then it's definitely bullshit.
But of course, again, what I'm saying here, it's like I don't say it out loud. I don't put it in writing when like that shit happens because I
Well,
remember a lot. I remember a lot of that stuff.
and then like the one time you do, she'll show you like her big family and all four of her Aunt Susies that are like they have X's over their head now, because they all died.
Yeah, well, that could be photoshopped. Just saying.
I'm not good with computers, so yeah.
I'm not saying you, Bob.
Yeah.
I
One
don't
Aunt
have any.
Susie.
I have one Aunt Cookie. That's it. So, and she's still alive.
I only have one aunt too, so
One aunt looks like Aunt Jemima. One looks like Sable. One looks
Yeah.
like Mimi from
Actually,
Drew Carey's show. It's like, what family tree did you fall out of?
I forgot I have two other aunts, but I don't see them very much. I have an Aunt Karen and an Aunt Barbara, except they're Norwegian, so we don't use the word aunt. We use the Norwegian word for aunt and call them Tanta. Tanta Barbara and Tanta Karen. Uncle is uncle, but aunt is Tanta.
Tata is dad in Croatian.
Tanta.
Teta.
And I think I told, like, my grandfather's name was Thor and his brother was Hans. and they married two sisters. So 2 brothers married 2 sisters. Norwegians like to keep it in the nationality, I guess.
As I said, it's probably common back in the old country.
Yes.
Okay.
You know what the word for pancakes is?
Pancakes.
Kinda. Panacacas.
Sounds like pan of shit. If you're going from like
They're delicious.
the verbiage of the youth when we used to say caca poo poo.
Yes.
I think
Panna
Michael's
cotta.
asleep.
Yeah, Michael's probably Ed Bird right now.
No, I think he's passed the fuck out.
I think he's dreaming of panacacas.
Michael,
How do you say "and" again in Norwegian?
wake up.
Tanta. Tante. Tanta.
Oh, Aunt is Tetka. Tetka. And then Uncle is Zio for Italian.
Michael.
Make him big so we can see his reaction when he wakes up. Oh, there he is.
There it
Go to bed, man.
Sleep.
I do believe it is time to go to bed.
I just now
Hey,
noticed it.
I was
just
very
now noticed it.
relaxed.
But that was like I noticed it and I was like, man, he hadn't fucking moved in a bit. Like
Was it
I'm
snoring?
like,
Was it snoring yet?
no
Yeah.
noises, no noises. But
And that's
you can
definitely not the
tell.
first time that I know I've fallen asleep on this podcast at some point over the last years. So it ain't the first time that's happened.
That's
I
the
said,
soothing voice,
you-
Robert Lewis. That got him.
It's just great white noise put me to sleep.
I've been called
It was
worse.
my panacacas story. I know it. It does it all the time.
Go get
Okay,
some
gents,
sleep,
on that
Michael.
note, I'm going to go continue doing that in another room.
Take it easy, man.
Yep. Y'all have a good one. Later.
Like he had moved.
No,
And
it
I'm
was
like, I think he's really about to like start sawing logs here in a minute. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So let's try and wake him up briefly so like he can say his goodbyes. And if that didn't work, I was gonna minimize it. Like
yeah. If he didn't,
Hours
respond,
later, the stream was ended.
he would have probably woken up though at some point, like, and then realized, oh shit. So I have to ask: is it safe to say no show next week since there's a certain something that's going on?
correct.
Okay, just making sure. That's usually been a historical thing since we've been doing this now for 4 years, so it wouldn't be the first time.
Hopefully, the following week there'll be an expo review by yours truly.
When's like the I'll know if I'm going or not. Do you have like I got stuff in line, or is there a couple things hanging out there?
As of last week, it was 90-10, but things could change, like and be zeros in 5 minutes. So I talked to my buddy.
Your Aunt Susie might die or something. So
yeah, it's hedged on my buddy's son's football schedule.
Buddy's son's football schedule.
Yeah, his son made the playoffs. We went to his game Sunday night, and they were winning 36-0. So in Michigan, apparently the rule is you take out all your starters because that's reached the mercy level. So if you're up 36-0, all your starters have to come out. Or no, excuse me, all your 8th graders have to come out. So his son's in 8th grade, and he's their kicker, he's their wide receiver, and he's their D-back. So he had an interception. He had 5 catches, and he had extra points are worth 2 points because it's easier for them to go for the conversion, which is only worth 1, but an actual field goal is worth 2 after an extra point. So he kicked 3 of those, and then field goals were again 3 points, so he kicked one of them too. Needless to say, it worked out well for them because they won 36-6. So hopefully there's no, and I know I won't be there on Sunday because it's his son's birthday. So we know our window is next Friday and Saturday to go. And I have next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off because my boss said you need to take some days off. So I figure let's just make a weekend out of it.
You were already off Saturday and Sunday because you don't work weekends.
Well, yes, true. True.
Just
And
specifying here.
yeah, and much unlike my previous years, I don't work on Saturdays and Sundays anymore. Unless they really need it.
Mine has always been emergencies. And I haven't had any of those in years.
Yep.
So
Neither have I, so knock on wood.
squirrel.
I didn't get derailed. What did you say, squirrel?
Just because I wanted to.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay with you?
You do you, brother.
Well, I would anyways. Wouldn't matter what you said.
True. That's why I just let you go. Anyhow, just for everybody, since we are a card hobbyist podcast.
Are we? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Last time I looked, tomorrow is the release of 23-24.
There's a card.
Spa. Upper Deck Spa SPA comes out tomorrow. So they will be hunting Bedard future watches that already are estimated to go between $3,000 and $4,000 each. A box is roughly 600 Canadian, I think.
And can I ask a question?
Sure.
Does anybody actually care?
I don't know, but Lemieux has 4 cards in there, mostly Sign of the Times and a Bounty Future Watch. So those are the. Getting back to when Bob asked, do you like preview the set ahead of time to see if he's in there? Yes, I do. Proving once again, I need to keep to the word I've told Bob. Because the last release was Metal Universe, I think. No, Series 1, 24-25 came out, and before that it was 23-24 Metal Universe. So that's out of Metal Universe.
And then before that was 22-23 Ice.
Yes. So this is out of 23-24 Metal Universe.
That is correct. 22-23 Ice just came out.
Yes. So
that's not a typo. That's not a typo.
Yeah. You're going to get 20. You still need 22-23 the cup.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think, or is it, or are we on to see? It's so hard to even remember where they are now because the cup kind of finishes the year off.
Mm-hmm.
So are we on? Was the last cup 22-23 or 23-24?
No, I think 22-23 is the more recent cup release.
We will go to the. Let's go and find out. For the 5 people watching.
Because 23-24 would be Bedard, and you already know people would be losing their shit.
Yeah. Let's go
because that won't come out. because that'll be sometime next year. You see 23, 24, the cup, because they're always behind with that product.
Yeah, that's always the
Always.
last.
Jeff says
So-
22, 23.
Yep. 22, 23. 23, 24 ice. It was 23, 24 ice.
No, it was 22, 23 ice that just recently came out.
Well, according to this, 1 month ago, it was 23, 24. But what was 23, 24 credentials was before that. 23, 24 SPX was before that. And 23, 24 lore. I'm trying to find one. I think 22 and 20, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24 ice was combined.
I've gone
Research
cross-eyed.
department struggling on this one. Give me a minute.
We don't care, though, honestly.
I don't care. Well, I'm speaking for the viewers, not you.
What makes you think all the viewers care about hockey?
Jeff cares. Jeff cares. And
Very
all our
nice.
Canadian friends.
I want WNBA releases and I want NFL releases. Like,
That's
no, actually, I don't because I can go look them up myself.
22, 23.
They have the internet in Texas.
No,
It's powered by horsepower.
I've been pedaling the whole time to power up the satellite to shoot off of Mars to then bounce off of a cell tower that's 300 miles north in Oklahoma. Another
Well, 22, 23 ice did come out, but I don't know when it debuted.
yeah, like a couple weeks ago.
He looks pretty giant.
Please refer to the episode with Jeff Morse.
I understand, but even then, so yeah, they came out within a month. Yeah, you're right. They came out with that's right. They came out within a month of each other. They released 22, 23, then like a month later, 23, 24 came out.
That would require a lingerie league to exist, but you know.
As of now, it's only in our heads.
There was
Pardon the pun. Sorry,
who
that was bad.
there's somebody from the old guard of YouTube.
Well, that's a pretty significant list, though, Dave.
Don't hold on. I'm trying to search.
You're trying to search.
That
in your head?
collected like the bench warmer cards.
Oh,
There were a
Tony.
few, I
Wasn't it- I know there's a guy named Tony that did it. He might not have been old guard though.
Like
I'm gonna get some water.
like is it a Mac? Glasses sort of looked like Micah.
You're asking the wrong dude.
I can picture him because at some point, I think he had got. And again, this is like the reason I remember because I like tried to be polite, watch videos, and this was like one of the rare times where I wanted to get the cards, so I tried to be nice because I was like, this is a guy I'm not gonna talk with and chat with, and
Oh,
Like,
you were using him.
no. I made sure to comment and say nice cards and hey, good mail day, and because again, but it was it was some sports, but then you had all these like bench warmer cards, which I'm like, that's always odd to me. I mean, like, what are you gonna do? Look through a binder? Or mean, for somebody who wants condition quality cards, if you have those and you're not protected, they become condition sensitive. So I mean, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me.
To each their own, Dave.
I just like I said, it doesn't make sense to me.
I'm aware.
But yeah, it's like
I'm aware.
I think he had something from a Fitz memorabilia of Josh Johnson. I don't know if it's a button or a logo patch or something. And I had asked him, because I went, I'm like, okay, I'll start commenting on the videos. I see this card. I'm not going to come out right away because again, I'll see what the guy's about first. But then it was like a lot of that stuff, and I'm like, this is odd. So it's like getting 8x10 autos of like porn stars. I'm like, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
Neither does Bob.
No, Bob got too excited with that when he flipped the phone home. So I'm just like, okay. There's some card videos. He had picked up actual cards too, so I sort of commented on those, like I said.
You brought up porn actresses, and we lost more viewers, Dave. Good job.
Well, like, yeah. That's the trend of this episode. You bring up one specific thing, and like, it's like a pair of people just they're gone. It's like that's it. I've stayed through this long, but I can't stay any longer. They push me over the edge.
The Detroit Red Wings just traded Oli Mata.
Huh?
The Detroit Red Wings just traded Oli Mata to the Utah Hockey Club for a third round 2025 pick.
It seems early in the year to be.
Yes, but I think I don't think he has a place right now on our team. So Pittsburgh needs a whole defense and a goalie. That should do him. Well, no one wants. Somebody picked up Hot Dog Phil, but
yeah, the St. Louis.
He must be murdering
right. Ottawa beat St. Louis several goals to 1. But yeah,
World Series is looking like it's going to go to at least 5 games.
Yep. Do you have anything memorabilia-wise of Meadows, Bob?
Not cards.
I did get a bat once. That's it. But it was a Fanatics thing. Like that was. It's not like a game. It's nothing. I had at one point was like, oh, it'd be cool. Like some kind of a jersey, ball, bat, glove, or what. Like something. But I never poured into it. Other than I don't even. The bat is still in a box. It really doesn't. I'll display it at some point. It's not. It hasn't. I don't have. It was kind of an impulse buy, and it was now. So now it just sits there. So there's no like story that goes with it or anything. It was just like, yeah.
Well, I have a few stories for mine, but it's not like my shit's game used. I sent off for it. I got it at a like.
Yeah.
Yours are auto jerseys, right?
I have two jerseys. I have a helmet, and I have a mini helmet, along with some other stuff. But yeah,
the jerseys are signed, though. You said,
of course.
Dave, I know you have a pair of boots or boots. Sorry, soccer term. Cleats. 2 sets of cleats. A bat. I've seen the bat.
That is right there. I might have 2.
You have a ball?
I've got a I don't think I've got something like game used with like because I don't think they had the authentication sticker
Gotcha.
when he played. But I've got like an all-star issue ball with his auto on it, so that was more than I wanted to spend, I think, for that. But I'm like at the same time, he commemorates a specific event or time. So
Yep.
And I have a football. Actually, I have two footballs. Two of them.
Somebody did. I was gifted like a replica helmet too at some point. I think. Dude, sadly, you guys know Bink Scott? You ever heard Bink Scott?
Yeah.
I haven't been watching channels, but anyways, he was the first guy that ever sent me something once I sort of joined the hobby community.
He pops in from time to time.
Yeah, Gary's a good dude. But yeah, I was trying to think. I mean, you guys know the situation. I haven't been in my card room in a long time. I don't even know what I like have and don't have because I was selling a lot of stuff. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. You know, for as much as I can say that, I'm looking forward to getting my stuff back. We'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, that'll be it'll almost be like going through the collection. I've talked with the lowest rung about this, like fresh eyes almost on stuff.
That's one of the main reasons why I audit the TD collection once a year is because it's fresh eyes because I hadn't really looked at it in a while.
Yeah. Cross the T's, dot the I's. You use a Beckett list or checklist, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Which Dave hates because it's not in the order that he feels like it should be, which I don't disagree.
That's just the way you've always done it.
Well, it's because when you think so, like Bowman Chrome. So Bowman Chrome, base, refractor, X-fractor goes in order of rarity, right?
Right.
Most people would think. Well, in the Beckett checklist, it's in like once the base card hits, it's then in alphabetical order. So like you could have insert sets in front of the refractor, in front of like, and then other insert sets to then get to like the X-fractor.
yeah, it could go like blue refractor, gold refractor, then the refractor, then the interstates in there or something. It's like, no, that's not the. Like
I use the checklist I was pulling from was the trading card database, and it does everything alphabetically, even the inserts, even the parallels. But I'll put them in the order that like.
Do you want them in?
Like like I'll put the base, then the refractor, then the like, some colored parallel that isn't numbered, and then I'll go to like the purple, the blue, the gold, the orange, the red, the super.
You'll go in like serial number rarity.
Yeah, to like the base to the rarest one I have. You know what I mean?
That's Dave's mentality. But Beckett doesn't do that. It's alphabetical. And so
right. And in that regard, it just, I guess it's easier to like, okay, the next one on my list is the next one in my box. So I'm not having to like go 6 cards ahead to see if I got it back 3. You know what I mean? Like I get that too.
Yeah, it's organized by Beckett checklist. So it's in that order.
The Bowman's best one is the one that really irks my chain because it goes Bowman's best, atomic, then the refractor. Like, no. That is an egregious error. I don't care what we're doing here. You cannot have the tougher pull by like leaps and bounds. before the base refractor, which again, the 98, 99 ones are the money ones. But yeah, it's Beckett. That's why they're so popular these days.
They've stayed consistent.
And that's one thing.
So, and it's also like, again, it's when you're auditing, it's very easy. Here's the checklist. You pull out a stack, and
Everything matches up, and
everything's in order based on that checklist. So, plus it saves time having to resort and update the checklist, because it would have to be manually revised each time I pulled a new one,
mm-hmm.
and that takes too much work.
Yeah.
Ain't got time for that shit.
No.
Not that anything's been added to the checklist. So, like,
Dude, I have a lot to add, so that's kind of like a lot.
Yep. A lot.
a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of time.
I got one I get to add. Much like my Mirror Red story of my $11 and some cent find of 3 to 4 weeks ago, this month's find would be this.
That
Wow.
Game Gear.
That would be the Essential Credentials numbered to 37. For, believe it or not, $66 Canadian shipped. Buy it down.
What?
So what did
Somebody-
Vinny do? He bought it the hell now.
Yeah,
Good
I would
buy.
have bought that. I would have bought that.
Yeah, this is for that price. Yes, please. So we'll do
all
a
day,
comparison.
all day, every day.
You mean Earth Day?
So that
Again,
one was
that's
66 Canadian. We gotta kind of be quiet because we don't want to wake up the beast. The one I bought before, closer to $400. So basically $400 shipped versus, and that was in US dollars. This was $66 Canadian shipped. So we got to see what November holds for our. Holy shit! Did that just actually happen? And will I actually get it shipped to me?
Unlike the PMGs.
Yeah, the Flurry PMGs, red and blue, back in the day.
Probably got redirected to Alaska.
They're probably sitting in California now. But I digress.
Anyways,
Is this the wrap it up part, Steve?
I don't know. Is it? We are at over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Dave said to start. Don't know how long this one's going to last. We're all tired. Michael proved that earlier.
Yeah. I'm running on a Meyer half a hoagie and Pepsi.
That was your choice.
Yes. I had Hardee's breakfast this morning, so I haven't been hungry all day. One of those sandwiches fill you the heck up. It's called the Monster. It's a homemade biscuit, which is delectable. Ham, sausage, bacon, scrambled egg, and cheese. It's a heart attack on a biscuit.
Homemade biscuit.
Yes, they're baked freshly every morning. My daughter
So-
told me because she used to work there.
I was going to say, so they say, but
Yep.
unless you know somebody who worked there.
Shelber worked there, so she said they were fans. She said she'd always like to work the morning shift because that free food was always the best. Their lunch is good too. Their hamburgers are solid. Their fries are solid. They're all around solid.
Back when I worked at Little Caesars, man, freaking, we opened at 10 o'clock. We had to be there at 8 o'clock. Why? Because we had to make fucking dough every fucking day.
There's two, Jeff. There's one on Mound Road about 13 a mound. And then there's one down on 10 Mile and something. Google it. You'll find them. The other thing is Long John Silver's. There was one on 8 Mile that I used to go to. And we went past there the other day, and it's temporary closed. I have a craving for Long John Silver's every once in a while.
So
The only one consistently there is the one in Pennsylvania that's about 25 minutes, half hour from my dad's house. So
it's the grease.
oh, it is the
telling
grease.
you.
I don't
I'm
give a
telling you.
shit. That's give me
It's
some
the
hush
grease.
puppies, 5 planks of fish, and a bunch of fries that are all cooked in the same shit. Load me up. I try
want
to be
fish.
good any other time.
I want fish and shrimp.
Huh?
Said I want fish and shrimp.
I can't eat the shrimp or I'll puff up like a meteor-sized nose. Or a
note,
space
to,
station.
note to self.
Yeah, trust me. The better half's been repeating that note for 15 years since you met me. If I got to whack out my husband, shrimp. She already tried it. We were eating at, what's the Wheeling? You know Wheeling Downs, don't you, Bob?
Yeah.
We went down there because her and my uncle liked the crab. So they're getting
Okay.
crab, and she cracks a leg, and the stuff flies across. It hits me right on the lip. And I'm like, I wiped it off, thinking nothing of it. And I was like, I'm going to go hit the bathroom. Something feels weird. I come back, my it's drooping down to here. Look like I had a friggin' stroke. She's like, are you all right? I'm like, well, I don't have my EpiPen. And, well, this is what we got to deal with. Hopefully I win a couple $100 and it'll make up for the fact that my lip looks like.
So Ed, define make, as in like baked and then sold, or prepped, as in the dough being made that morning. I need specifics.
Are we talking crazy bread?
That's what the thing is highlighted. So yes.
I was trying to read it.
Both.
What do they call it? What do they call the initials? Something Italian ICB or
That's Italian cheese
Italian
bread.
crazy bread. Yeah,
Two different things.
yeah, that's
Italian-
quite tasty too.
Italian cheese bread is made actually with their deep dish dough.
Yep.
It's made in a small pizza deep dish pan.
Yep.
Well, at least it used to be. I don't know.
Detroit style.
They may put it in a medium now, for all I know. So this is, I can only speak to when I worked there. So like when making dough, of course, you making various sizes, large, medium, small, crazy bread. Typically, the weight of the crazy bread dough was the lightest. There was usually, how many was it? 12? I think there was 12 per sheet. I think it's 12. At least it was then, or fairly close to it. And depending on the day, like there was at least 5 to 6 trays of crazy bread made daily in preparation for the day. And it wasn't uncommon for it to almost completely be gone. Because a lot of people would buy fucking just like 2 things of crazy bread. That's all they would order. Fuck the pizza, fuck everything else. 2 orders of crazy bread.
Mm.
Still sold more pizza than crazy bread, but still, like it's still one of those in which, when you look at the overall scope of things, you could sell 50 pizzas in a night, and I'm just throwing out, but like 30 things of crazy bread. That's a shit ton, man.
Having a little thing a long time.
They just opened one, like literally, like right up the road and around the corner. But they are fucking slow as shit.
I call in anytime I get Little Caesars. They even have drive-throughs in the ones around here. I always call in ahead of time and order, and then I show up and I still wait 10 minutes. So
here's what's interesting. Now, this is before the whole hot and ready shit. They would, make a shit ton of pepperoni, a shit ton of cheese pizzas, throw it in the warmer and stuff like that. So, the hot and ready thing was non-existent when I worked there. If somebody walked in or called, 10 to 12 minutes. That's what we had to tell people. And that's from start to finish. It didn't matter how many fucking people were in front of that person. Be ready for pickup in 10 to 12 minutes. The only time that would freaking expand is when we were doing customer appreciation. And a large pizza, whether it be cheese or pepperoni, was $2.99. And literally, somebody made dough all fucking day. The GM for the area was there working. Nobody could have the day off.
Mm-hmm.
And you were slinging pies from open to close. So, hey, beef and mushroom, man. That's the only way to go.
What was Pizza Hut had the Bigfoot? What the fuck was Little Caesars? Because they had it before. I think Pizza Hut didn't. Pizza Hut came out with the sheet, the fucking like the big cake.
Yeah. The Bigfoot versus
Little Caesars is the one who started the Bigfoot.
I know, but I don't remember what it was. I know Pizza Hut.
Bigfoot. It was called the Bigfoot.
Pizza Hut stole it.
Well, because like Little Caesars stopped doing it. Like they didn't re-up the name. But all that was literally 2 large deep dish pizzas put together.
Oh, I remember. Believe me, that helped get my physique to where it is today. There's a lot of Fridays where like the parents were like, "We're gonna get the pizza the crazy bread, and then usually it was like a 2 liter of Pepsi or whatever the fuck it was, whatever meal deal thing. And I'm like,
Yeah, for like 15 or 15, 16,
yeah,
17
it was
dollars.
fucking ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, that if they had that here, you'd have to get a crane to get me out of the house every day.
Well, 2 medium pizzas were like $8.99. 2 large pizzas were $14.99. One topping for the longest time, and that's what made Little Caesars famous. Was basically 2 for the price of 1.
Yep.
All their deals were twofers. Well, then they got the great idea later on, and mind you, I was still working there, that, oh, no, we're going to get away from what made us famous and like profitable. Let's change the fucking sizes. So a small pizza became a 14-inch, which is normally your large.
Mm-hmm.
A medium was 16-inch and a large was 18-inch. So like your giant.
Mm-hmm.
And a fucking large one topping pizza was almost $20. Specialties, all the meats or your supreme, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
almost $30 for a large. And it almost like cratered, like a lot of stores shut down because of it. Because people were like, what the fuck? Why would you do this? You were known for the 2 for the price of 1 deal, and this is what you came up with? No, I can't say I know anything about Troll Book Club.
They have a gourmet version, Mike's Pizza at Little Caesars Arena, that has like gourmet Little Caesars pizza.
Oh, I could have fucking blown all their shit out of the water, man. You'd be surprised at some of the shit me and Daniel, who was the store manager, would create. And we'd fucking display it under the heat lamp so all these people would come and be like, oh, that looks good. Yeah, that's ours. Get the fuck out of here.
We had what did we have? We had a Detroit deep dish, which is basically an 8-corner, and a thin crust, and I got Cease a cheese. Her and Tatenda, Dave, we went and dropped off their stuff before the playoffs, and we got pizza because C had practice beforehand. Danny was there, and it was surprisingly, when it's hot, the thin crust in a 4-corner deep dish is friggin' on point. The regular hot and readies, they're always in between. And sometimes the crazy bread is cooked, sometimes it's not so cooked.
Well, that's the problem with the way that they've done it. They have, well, and I'm assuming, but for something like that, they have a build to schedule, and it's based on history, and it's an average. So, like between 5 and 6 on average, this is the number of pies that are sold. This is the average number of crazy breads that are sold. Of the pizza, it's this, and so on. So that's kind of what they build to. But it's for the entire hour. So you kind of have to figure out how to split it. And the problem is, the longer the shit sits under the heat lamp, the worse it gets. So there's only X amount of time in which it's still quote unquote sellable. And anything that's not, it goes in the trash. So in those situations, they're trying to keep costs low because that's just being waste. That is just being wasteful. Because if it's cooked, you can't do anything with it. If you've pre-staged your pans and the dough is risen and everything else, you can save that and reuse that as starter dough into your next batch for the next day. So that doesn't go to waste. It's when you cook it, like it's garbage.
I'm glad that Ed knows proper nomenclature, Sicilian style. So I say Sicilian style up here. People look at me like I got 12 heads. They're like, what's Sicilian? I'm like, square, Sicilian. And I went to one place and I asked for Sicilian, and the one guy nodded his head, and the other guy goes, "What's Sicilian?" He smacks the dude. It was an older guy. He smacks the dude. He goes, "Where are you from?" I said, "Pennsylvania." He goes, "See, he's from the East Coast. They know pizza." He goes, "They know terminology, nomenclature, if you will." And he goes, "What's the difference between the sauce for the regular pie and the Sicilian?" I said, "The Sicilian sauce is cooked and put on the pie." They're like, "See, this guy knows. See, Vinny knows. He knows
Like,
pizza.
hey.
Look at the carriage of this bitch. It's seen pizza." They opened this place, Table 53, up here in Warren, on Warren and somewhere, and Warren on Van Dyke and something. And
not important.
it's the thin crust is it's good. And then they opened this place called Shiroki's, which is this Albanian dude's back there slinging pizza. I walked back, I said, "Let me tell you something, dude. I don't know who taught you how to make pie, but you, sir, are an artist. Because that New York style, perfect undercarriage, semolina flour on the bottom. Oh,
Anyways,
Vinny knows.
I'm getting hungry again. Wrap this shit up. Like I'm getting hungry again.
Don't reuse shit. Bob has told us that before. Had to get my one Christmas episode reference in.
What's the view count up to now?
I will check.
8.
Well, no, not for us.
The Christmas episode. 622.
621 of those are
445.
so 444 you.
Not quite. It was over 100 when I started watching it. Because remember, I wouldn't watch it for a while because Dryden was barking in there. And when we lost Dryden, I couldn't watch Christmas episodes at all.
Neither could Bob.
Yeah.
Well, that's because Bob's phone was upside down. Rainbow. Wrap us up, Dave.
First, I'll quickly touch on the placeholder. I didn't know the ring even more true. Lost a good friend over the weekend. 41. Who's somebody had said to maybe a stroke, but again, the way he had been drinking, it's just you can't do that to yourself and expect to keep on trucking. So it's the second good friend I've lost. That's been one of my wrestling fans when I was younger. I mean, we talk all the time. He'd get me the tickets for the thing when he worked at the casino, and they'd have like where I met Sting, where I met the NWO, where I met all them guys. And then we just talk. We just BS constantly about wrestling or old times. So, yeah, I heard about it Friday night and about 8:30, and I'm like, oh, that's wonderful news. And Saturday, it appeared that he had passed away, but no, he's on life support. And then it was about Sunday at 5 p.m. They had taken him off the morning, like 3 a.m., and just sort of hospice comfort care, whatever it was. So, Sammy, love you. So if you know anybody that's going through that shit, if you're going through that shit, know that there's people out there. Especially if you know us, we'll listen. We're ears for you. Cause it's a battle, and we'll always be there for you. And for Robert, Vincenzo, Steve, I'm Dave, IRP. Next week, remember, vote. We're not going to be on. Just vote. Democracy. It's your American duty. And
Yes, and I'm just going to say one thing. If you don't vote, don't ever let me hear you bitch about anything that's going on in this country. You lose that right. You vote, you can say whatever the fuck you want. But if you don't, shut the fuck up.
well, you can say whatever you want within reason. I mean, don't go.
I will leave that open ended for any sort of interpretation. That does not apply on this show. But for a lot of years, I never bitched. But the minute that I didn't like what was going on, I made sure I did my civic duty. And like, if I could, I'd go get my little sticker because I voted last week.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you don't vote, shut up.
Correct.
Soapbox, retract.
So remember, collecting cards and voting. It's wonderful. It's the friendships you forge along the way. That's what really matters. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.